Welcome back, guys, for another episode on on my channel, and we're talking business. We're going to continue talking about business and what it's like. In the previous episode, I did mention why the question was why you would want to start a business in 2022. Why is it a good idea to start a business now? A lot of people or most people would generally think when you're in a time of uh, a pandemic or post-pandemic, the economy is a little bit, you know, I would say a bit scary and an unknown. But there are some known facts about this time right now, and I'll try and discuss some of those facts that I believe are important in knowing whether you should or should not be starting a business in 2022 post pandemic, and even during the pandemic as well, why you would want to start a business in this time period. Most people have, not most, but a lot of people's careers have been affected. A lot of businesses have been affected as well. So you'd think that it's crazy to start something, to want to start a business right now, to start up a business of any kind. Well, let's start with from my own experience. I run a small business. I'm self-employed. I prefer to say self-employed because if I say small business, it does sort of suggest that I've got employees in my business. No, I'm my business is registered, but I'm not. I'm just self-employed really at this point. But I have a goal and an aim to grow, to expand. I'm gonna and by employing somebody to make my job easier, and also to multiply my my earning potential as well. That would be a good thing to do because running a small business of any kind, or just running any business of any kind, whether you're self-employed to small business, medium-sized business, or large, big business, it would be good. It's a good idea to always think of expanding by employing helping hands, employees, people to manage. Perhaps if you're not such a good manager yourself, if you gauge yourself and judge yourself to be not the best manager, because just because you can start a business doesn't mean you are also a good manager of business. You may just be a good, you know, business starter, but not necessarily be a good business operator yourself. Okay, um, why should you start a business? Why should you start a business now, especially in this time post pandemic? For most places around the world, we're just coming out of the pandemic situation, and things are looking a little bit unsettled or have gotten unsettled. And also, right now, 2022, this is March, we've got this issue with Russia and the Ukraine that is causing a bit of instability in our fuel prices. The price of fuel is really gone up high right now. So things are going to be affected, including small businesses, especially small businesses, because you learn very quickly when you're running your own business and or whether you're self-employed. But when you're running your own small business, especially, you learn quickly that fuel cost is very important and it needs to be monitored very closely, because in a small business you're not making a huge amount of money usually, especially at the very beginning. At the beginning stages of any business is very um, tight. with finances, you gotta monitor that your petrol gauge is very, very close with your vehicles, because especially if it's a business that requires a lot of driving, um, things, like taxi drivers, truck drivers, cleaning businesses, which is what I'm doing. I'm in a cleaning business. um, you need to get around to different places to clean, so you gotta monitor your petrol very closely, because once your fuel runs out, business shuts down. Now, let's get serious now. uh, 2022, 2020, really, let's go back all the way to 2020. 2020 and 2021, the pandemic came. A lot of small businesses, especially the small businesses, were affected. Medium sized to small businesses were affected in a major way, because you couldn't operate. The government pretty much said you could not open your workshops, your service businesses, your cleaning businesses, unless you were an essential business, essential service provider, or you were selling essential items. Other than that, you had to shut down. Okay, so now that causes a that caused a lot of that put a lot of pressure on businesses, small businesses, because how long can you close a business before you can't afford to pay your shop rent? You gotta pay your rent for your shops. Whether it's a shop where you sell, I don't know, bread, or bread was essential, so that kept up, that operated, but you still were affected because you were restricted on how many people you could have working in your business at the one time. So then a lot of companies had to actually let go of people. The employees had to be let go. Some of them, they had to cut down majorly. Now, if you cut down majorly, that means you are most likely not earning as much as well. Now, let's go a bit further forward now. That carried on for some time. Months went on and on and off. We were shutting and close. We were closing businesses, shutting down, opening, shutting down, different times. Especially here in Melbourne, Australia, we had a lot of lockdown situations where we locked down the town, the states. You couldn't work, and that went on for maybe 3 months before I lost my job. Pretty much, they just called me in and said, "Yeah, um, we will give you a call back when we need you guys. Right now, things are really low. There's not enough service needed for us, so we pretty much had to stop right then and there." Hope, and some people were just hoping that they were gonna get called back some uh, after the lockdowns, but not everybody got called back. Some people didn't get called back to work. Some people did get called back. Now, that instability of for the businesses, it forced a lot of businesses to actually just close permanently and rethink what they were doing, because they couldn't afford rent. You can't afford rent. How can you keep your shop operating? So when the lockdowns ended, those companies that were running, either maybe they were even in debt already before the pandemic. Maybe they were just surviving. They were probably just surviving, and that was just the key that tripped them over, even into this into pretty much shutdown, permanent shutdown. So I started noticing one thing driving around, because I'm very observant when it comes to businesses, surrounding businesses, the local businesses. And I started noticing a lot of shops were closed but they never reopened. And I thought that's strange. And then a couple of more months later, soon after, those same shops that didn't open, they had newspapers in the windows, which pretty much said that they were not opening. Something was going on. They had completely moved out, vacated, and then it just left a lot of empty shops. It left a lot of empty shops, which is a disastrous thing for those companies to go through. But then I started thinking, this is exactly what they've been talking about in the past. During any major crisis, pandemics, financial crisis, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. It started ringing true. Now we got to see it for ourselves because a lot of people my generation, I'm still quite young. I haven't been through a lot of financial crises like you know what do you call it, depressions and things like that in the financial realms. I haven't experienced much of it. I did experience for the first time as a young man the 2008 financial crisis we went through. A lot of things, a lot of shops closed down then. But this time around with the COVID situation, it affected even more than before. I'm pretty sure this is the biggest we've had in the last 20 years because I've noticed shops were empty, vacant in so many towns. So now it gave me an idea, or it taught me a lesson actually, not an idea, but it taught me a lesson. And I was thinking to myself, this is the financial reset that we that has been talked about for so many years. People have been waiting for something like this to happen, not in a good way, but in a bad way, in a negative way. But then people like Robert Kiyosaki have talked about such things, and they talk about it in a positive way. So it's like pretty much turning a negative into a positive. We have to try and do that because there's no way of avoiding this. It has happened and it was going to happen. It happened, so we have to deal with it. So now this what this means now. We've gone through this now. Vacant shops everywhere, right? We're rebuilding now. People are rebuilding. Businesses are starting to open, even though we're they're limited at a limited capacity. But right now things are looking positive and good. So I would say that I'm gonna call this the financial. We're experiencing a financial reset, and this is the reason why it's a good idea to start a new business because you have a wider choice of where you can start your new business. If you've got enough money, capital to start with, and you can afford to rent a shop, this is the best time to start a business for you because there's so many vacant shops you can choose. You can pick and choose much more easily now than before. In the past, you really had to look hard for a vacant shop, for a vacant shop for you to start your own business. Right now, there's so many vacant places, and there's so many landlords building property owners that would be wanting to fill those vacant stores. For example, if you wanted to start a clothing store, there's a lot of vacant places right now. So the best idea for any new uh, business owner, someone who has a dream to start a business right now, is to start and activate yourself into looking for a place to open your store because owners, shop owners, landlords, they're wanting to fill those places. And it's, they talk about location is very important. So right now you have more locations available to us. There are more locations available to us if you want to start a shop. If you don't want to start a shop and you're just looking to start a service business like a carpet shampooing business, a cleaning business, a lawn mowing, a lawn care business. What else could you start? A mobile mechanic workshop, mobile mechanic business. This is the best time for those businesses as well. Because what I did notice, being in a service business, where a cleaning business, after the lockdowns had ended here in Victoria, I was one of the first people to go back to work. I was As soon as it opened up for business, I was out there because I was waiting, eagerly waiting to get back out there because I was hungry. Obviously, I was hungry to make money, and those other um, the shops, the commercial buildings that had cleaners in the past, they had contracts to clean those places. Pretty much, they didn't return. If they did return, they're taking their time. They took their time to return back to work because they got comfortable either staying home, or they just completely retired out of business, or they just had just given up. Financially, they were strained and they never returned. Maybe they they're refocusing they're changing business completely to something else. I don't know where they are, but the simple fact is that they did not return back to work, and a lot of them still haven't returned back to work. And we've gone, I think, 3 months, no, 4 months now, 4 or 5 months back out of lockdown, and the restrictions are much lighter now, so people can start to go back to work. But the key is to get back to work as soon as possible. If you're one of those people that are planning to start a business, the best thing is to do is to start right now, tomorrow, today. Start your service business. Start your, rent a store. Even if you don't have any products, just rent the store if you have the money. And then once you got your location, your perfect location, you can start filling up your store with your products or whatever you choose to sell. If you want to start a lawn care business, start now, because a lot of lawn mowing companies shut down. Either they owed money and they couldn't repay their debts, they didn't come back. They're in debt. Maybe they're shocked. They can't believe what's happened and they've lost their business completely, which leaves room for new startups to take over those old contracts. So what I'm doing right now, I'm really trying to encourage you guys that are out there dreaming of owning your own business. Right now is the best time. There's a lot of vacancies. It's the best time to start afresh, and companies, small companies, big companies, they're looking to start new contracts because the old contractors are simply not there. They're not available. And a lot of them that do have that are working and operating, they're too busy. They're too busy, um, which means that there's too few of them, and it's driving the pricing market. The prices have gone, they're skyrocketing in some industries, like especially the building industry. Especially the building industry, the prices are crazy right now because the supply of the materials has gone up. The cost of materials has gone up. The tradespeople are too busy to take on all this work, which means they can charge a little extra as well because they had high demand. Um, and I know they're in high demand because I've tried to hire tradespeople in the last 3 4 months, and I've been turned down so many times. It's not funny. Just for example, to get a concreter right now, it's really tough. Really, really tough. Concreters are very busy right now. So right there, I just gave you another nugget, a pearl. a gem, an idea. If you're out there and you are a concreter or you want to be a concreter, concreting business right now is booming. If you've got the skills and you can provide that service, go for it. Now, you're probably thinking to start, oh, I'll start maybe next month. It's going to cost me so much money to register the business, blah, 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 and you're scared because you don't have insurance. That's a wrong way to think about it. That's a wrong way to think. If you start thinking like that and waiting for everything to be perfect and registered, you will never get started. So the next part of this video, the next part of our talk would be, we could discuss, how to start the business. Should I register before I start the business? Should you register before you start your business? I will leave that for the next video. I think I've covered enough about this topic that I wanted to talk about, whether we should start the business in 2022. Now 2023 is coming soon. We're almost halfway through the year. 2023 is coming. Now, should you wait until then? A lot of people like to say, next year I'll start my business. No, that's a wrong way. I know lots of people who have been saying, next year I'm going to start this, I'm going to start that. Next year is too late. You don't know what comes next. You don't know if the market will be oversaturated in that field that you want to start. Right now is the best time because right now there's a demand for a lot of services. Building services, especially building services, trades services, probably cleaning services as well, because a lot of cleaners wouldn't have been able to operate during the pandemic because they didn't want to pass on the virus or catch the virus, so they got scared. They're not cleaning. They didn't go cleaning anymore, and some of them have probably changed careers and picked up office jobs maybe, and so therefore the cleaning jobs are just there. Okay. There's so many services I would have liked to mention, but and different kinds of businesses and why you should start those businesses. The key to this video pretty much is that we're experiencing a financial reset. This financial reset is the key for new beginnings. A reset means restarting, so new beginnings. I've made my step. I've gone out and tested the fields. The field is ready for new businesses. I've had work. I've been working cleaning windows, and it's still a slow process to building a small business. Don't expect it to take off overnight. Just get your foot in the door and start building it. All you can do is start building it. It's no guarantee. There's never is a guarantee how well you will do, because it all depends. It all depends on the individual as well. You start a business, it may go good. The same business, somebody else will try the same thing, and it won't work. It's also about personality as well. So first thing is, if you're confident that you can run a business, I would encourage you to start. Okay, guys, I'm gonna cut this video. It's a little bit getting long now. Tune in for the next part. I will talk more business. All right, guys, see you later. Remember to subscribe and like my video.